It's your boy Girl here, back with another video, and today I got special for you guys, man. Today we're going to be talking about this update. Not really just update, but why are people quitting like right now? Why are people like quitting or just really done with Legends, playing a lot less and everything, and all that good stuff. After this update, or when this update dropped, like you just see a huge uproar. People just really upset. I even posted a little poll on my community post to say like, you know, have you guys been playing after this update? Have you guys been playing more or less or the same? And it's like around 75% people are saying that they're playing less, if not have quit in the game. If you check the comments under that post of the reasons why. Now, I personally think that the reason why people are quitting this game or just stop playing, I really feel like it's not really this update in general. I don't think like this update alone was the reason why people quit. I really feel like it was just like, it was building up over time. Like people were kind of just like, you know, like they'll be upset about like these little small changes that Legends made. And over time, I felt like it built up. And then towards this update, I think like the buildup was just so much over the years of like the changes that the devs have been doing to the game, and then it kind of just like all the frustration that we've been holding over the years finally just popped and just dropped here, and that's when people just pretty much just got tired of it, bro. Like just got tired of it. Like they kind of went with Legends BS throughout the years of this game, and then here, just a lot of people just, you know, felt like it was time for, you know, to stop playing the game or just play less. So I personally want to just look back at some of the things, some of the main reasons why people are quitting, and in order for me to explain why I feel like people were building up this, you know, rage is for these reasons, because these reasons that I'm bringing up didn't all happen at once. It happened over time and everything. So without further ado, this is gonna be a kind of like a document series, and it's not really a document series, but like kind of like a documentation of what I feel like stuff that happened in the past that built up over time for people to lash out now. So if you do like this video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and like the video so more people can see. And without further ado, let's get on with the first topic. Okay, so the first topic I want to talk about is, I feel like the 14 star system is what kind of started this whole like, just like, you know, slowly like build up anger towards the game. Now, why am I bringing up the 14 star? I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna talk about like the reason of it and everything. So the 14 star system was kind of like a dev's solution to deal with the old 7-star system. So for all the OG players, people know that there was a such thing as a 7-star system where it basically was just yellow stars. The max you could get a unit was yellow stars. It was yellow 7 stars. There was no such thing as red stars. Now, the problem with that yellow star system was there was I'm gonna show you guys like a little chart of like the old yellow star system, and then there's the 14 star red system. So the 14 star red system was really dedicated to those spenders, because, you know, Legends is a company, at the end of the day, they want to make money off of this. So what they have done is they have revised the old yellow system to this red 14 system. Now, to understand why they did this was yellow 5, the old system was basically the same as yellow 6 for this, you know, 14 star system. They basically just gave you like that Z ability thing at that certain star count. Like say for example, like a 6-star whatever unit was basically the same as like that yellow 5-star for that unit as well. Like they both buffed up the Z abilities. But then that next star was the biggest problem. Now, the problem with it is when you reach the yellow 6, right, you get the huge stat increase. You get the 5% boost. The yellow 6-star was basically similar to the red 2 stars for what we have now. It basically gives you like that 5 stat increase. But after that 6 stars to 7 stars was just another Z ability. But the problem with it was you had to pull that unit 5 more times to get them to that yellow 7, and you didn't get no extra stat boost. So that was a problem. So what players would do, what whales would do, is they will summon until they get them to 5 stars or even 6 stars and just stop. They wouldn't summon no more because there's really no incentive of you to keep summoning, trying to max the unit out, because if you kept pulling more dupes and dupes and dupes, you have to pull that unit 5 times in order to get the max Z ability, but they wasn't getting no more stats after that 6 stars. So what the devs did is they made the red star system to where every time you basically pull like 2 copies of that unit, you get another stat increase. So if you check, for example, if we go to the summons thing, we go here, remember the yellow 6 stars was similar to like the 9 stars for the 14 star system. So we go to the Z power list here, you guys can see here after 2 plus, because 2 plus means red star 2, 9 stars, right? Red 3, 4, 5, you're getting an extra, and even red 6, you're getting an extra 2% stat. And that's what you did not have in that old yellow star system, is basically that. You didn't get those extra, because like add those up in total, that's 8 stars to the stats of a unit now with the 14 star system that the yellow old star system did not have. So that means it incentivized now, this 14 star system, it incentivized people now to summon more and try the 14 star units, because now you're getting even more stats. Compare, it was like a 5 star stats, but now with this 14 star system, you add another 8% to stats. That's 5% to 13% is a big deal, especially in like a game like this. So the 14 star system was really to make the spenders spend more money and get the incentive to really start the 14 star and max out these units and everything. So definitely showed like their way of just trying to be a little bit more greedy, and just like I said, they're a business, so it's a gotcha game at the end of the day. They want their spenders to spend more and have a bigger advantage and everything. So I really feel like the 14 star system really set a huge gap between free to play and spenders PvP, because it just showed how powerful units are with extra stats and everything. And I really feel like that was the first reason why people, like the build up of why people are quitting now. I really feel like the 14 star system was the beginning of everything. So let's hop into the next topic, and I'm gonna catch you guys there. Okay, now the next topic I want to talk about, where I feel like a lot of people are, like I said, over time got, just really just angry over time, and they just started to build up, was banners. I really feel like the banners has been through a lot of evolution and everything, and it's gonna be pretty important for me to like kind of break down everything what's going on. So first, the way that they dropped banners back in the day is completely different what they do now. So back in the day, you can even say like 2 years ago, like just the way they drop banners is completely different. They basically had regular banners, kind of like all-star banners, and they had step-up banners. Now the problem with it is that step-up banners wasn't a monthly thing. You could say step-up banners is kind of similar to like ultra banners, where they kind of drop step-up banners like every 3 months, every 4 months, and then they kind of just had like some filler banners in between. Now the problem with it is that the step-up banners, in my opinion, what I feel like the problem was for the devs is that the step-up banner had too much value. If you actually look at some of the step-up banners, like I'm bring up, for example, like FSK banner, where it has FSK, Lord Slug, and Yellow Cell. You can think about like the Super Saiyan 4 banners, where Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, and then you had Super Baby 2. You can think about even the UI Sign Goku banner, where it had UI Sign Goku as the LF. It had like Dispo, Topo, and Jiren. Those banners had insane value. It had really insane value, and many people in the community, even content creators, or just people that is just really smart and intelligent, know that like, hey, I'm gonna save all my CC for step-up banners, because step-up banners are the most valuable thing in the game. Like, I'm saving all these chrono crystals, I'm gonna have a chance of getting a lot of like extra regular sparkings that comes along with it, and then even the LF, right? Like this, the banner format or the value of step-up banners was super good. It was like there's no incentive to use summoning on regular step-up, like regular banners. They tried so many different type of formats of regular banners, like Legends Rising, where they summon, every time you summon on the Legends Rising banner for a certain period of time, you get 999 Z power and stuff like that. But it just didn't work out. People at the end of the day still chose to summon on step-up banners. Then what's the name? than those regular banners. And the problem is they was pretty much not making as much money per month probably, or something like that, where they just wasn't making that much money throughout the year. And they started to realize that people only went crazy whenever that month had a step up banner. So what did the devs do? So the devs did basically two things. They made the value of step up banners worse, I feel like, over time, and then they increased the amount of step up banners we got per year. Now if you look back at the past 2 years, or even just last year in general, we had 12 step up banners basically. We had a step up banner every single month, and the value of them sucks. You feel me? Like, you could basically say that it just was not good. Like, just the value of the step up banners now compared to what it was back then is just not even the same. It's not even close. They're not even the same, like, comparison, same level of how value the old step up banners were compared to now. And what they did was they made the regular banner step up banners value better, in a sense, by dropping, you know, more units in the step up in the all-star banners. That's what they introduced the new regular traditional banners is, as all-star banners. And those units that's on the all-star banners should have been like the units that pairs up with that LF unit for that individual LF unit banner. So say, for example, right, I'm gonna bring up two examples. We have one where it had LF Evolution Vegeta. LF Evolution Vegeta is a LF step up banner that it just only had him. But they dropped the all-star banner right next to him that had units that should have been a part of that LF step up banner. They had God Topo and they had Cam Khalifa. They all share the same thing. They're all part of the USS banner. So what they did was they make the LF step up banner value decrease, but they made the regular traditional banner increase as well. So it was like, hey, you trying to, you know, build a USS team, you got to summon for Evolution Vegeta, and you got to summon for the traditional banner for God Topo and Cam Khalifa, because they all fit on the same tag. Another one, for example, is you could say 8 Jita. 8 Jita, I believe he came alone, right? Like, he had EX Yajirobe, but he didn't have a regular 1% sparking unit with him. And what did they drop right after 8 Jita? They dropped Cryon and they dropped Nappa. Cryon, a revival unit, Nappa, a really strong strike builder, and they all fit into the same side of things. So that's what I feel like they did with the banners, is they made the Legends step up banners value decrease, and they made the all-star regular banners increase in time, where to the point where you kind of have to summon on both, in a sense, because although you summon on the LF banner, there might be some really strong 1% sparklings on that same tag that you're trying to build that you gotta summon for. And that's basically the issue that they solve, of not making Legend step up banners as valuable like they once was, but they want people to summon on basically as much banners as possible because of that reason. So I feel like that was a huge reason of banners and why people are just frustrated, because step up banners used to be so good, but now it's diluted, it's not as good. But then they want you to also summon on all-star banners and everything. And especially if you have a budget, you're not gonna have that many Chrono Crystals to summon and get lucky to pull all the units you need and all that good stuff. So let's hop into the next topic. All right, next topic that I want to talk about is PvE. I really feel like PvE was like, it has an interesting path, because I feel like if you was an OG player, I feel like there was a time where PvE content, I wouldn't say it was the best, but it was actually not as bad like it once is now. Like, where is that now? And what I mean by that, we had some events that was really difficult, but once you completed that event, it felt so rewarding. Now, I want to bring up two examples I felt like are PvE events that Legends did really, really well for multiple reasons. I want to talk about, one is the Challenge Rush. A lot of you guys know about the Challenge Rush. And I also want to talk about like the 100 stage battles, those type of events. I don't know if you guys understand. I'm not talking about the Battle Gauntlet. The Battle Gauntlet is completely different from the 100 stage battle. Of course, they're similar, but there was two different things. Battle Gauntlet wasn't a thing back then. It was just like a 100 stage thing for whatever unit that they dropped at the time. It could have been like a full power Bojack. It could have been like Purple 21. It could have been like full power Frieza event. Now, the reason why I felt like those two PvE content, for example, were really, in my opinion, I feel like the best or the most successful is, one, it wasn't monetized. You didn't have to summon for the latest units to beat the event. It's not like it was like, oh, if you have like Namek Goku, you do like 2,000 extra damage to the boss, and if you don't have Namek Goku, you do absolutely nothing. You don't have like high defense or high key recovery or high health. None of, like, it was like equal level playing field. You kind of had to just, based off what your box, use what you had to use to win that thing. That's pretty much the only thing that was a disadvantage for some people. If you were well, you most likely had all the new units, so you probably had different team variations that you could try out to see and beat the boss. But in terms of like a unit having extra stats and stuff, that wasn't really a thing. And also, like I said, is the rewards. When you beat those events, you was getting 1,000 chrono crystals. Like 1,000 chrono crystals is really good, bro. You was getting, you know, some really good rewards. And I felt like the PV, like the difficulties in these PV events are not really all that rewarding. And like I said, it gives an edge to a specific unit that you had to summon for the latest banner to pull. And that's just not, it's just, you know, it just gives you a easier advantage to deal with the bots and list the difficulty and everything. But a reason why I also like those difficulty events, the 100 stages and the challenge versus, I just felt like the community was so like to connect to get up together, bro. Like you can see like in Reddit, for example, or even in YouTube, where like there will be like a stage like for the full power battle. Like one of the reasons, that's like one of Ryuda's biggest videos. If you check his channel, like his highest view videos, one of them is him having a guide on how to beat like that full power Frieza battle. Everyone that played back in the day know how difficult that event was, but when you beat that event, it felt so rewarding. And I feel like that's what PV content should have. It should be rewarding, and it shouldn't be because you summon on the latest unit to defeat that boss. Like I just felt like that was pretty dumb. And like I said, over time, they monetized these PV events. Like it made it like, of course you had it difficult, but now it's like, if you want it to be easier, you got to summon from the newest units. Think about, for example, the Just Try to Surpass Me event. I don't know if you guys remember that, but at first it used to be difficult. It used to be like, oh, like an even level playing field. But then like the next batch, it was like, oh, you got to summon for these specific units to do extra damage. And then you had like full power battle, where you have to summon for basically the latest units so you can have an easier time to deal with the full power battle. But the rewards is actually just not as good as well. The Just Try to Surpass Me rewards were extra like tickets for the All-Star banner that I felt like it didn't even guarantee you a sparking, I believe. And then the full power battle was getting extra free-to-play Z power for the latest free-to-play unit, and extra what, like Koi Poi coins? Like, that's not worth. It's not worth. Also, co-op, for example, you just had basically events that was basically boring for PV content. You had co-op where it's just repetitive. You just do your 3 dailies and then you just stop playing. And over time, the rewards are not really good. And then it's pretty much boring. TOP is the least interactive mode for PvE, but you do get good rewards from it if you just, you know, rock a solid team with TOP, but you really don't feel the thrill of beating it, like the thrill of you winning it and, you know, trying out different teams and all that good stuff. I just felt like over time PvE content just got monetized and the rewards are just not as good. And I feel like that's the only reason why people likes the raid, for example. I feel like out of the whole PvE content, people likes the raid because one reason is super quick and super easy. You can easily get it done, but also the rewards that you get from the exchange shop is amazing. Getting now, I feel like we're starting to get like 2,000 erasers, which really helps people trying to get Z plus on their equips and all that good stuff for their optimal teams. You're getting Z power, LFZ power. You're also getting chrono crystals if you don't have 20k chrono crystals or higher. And then you're also getting some other good premium rewards like platinum coins or erasers or slot removers and all that good stuff. So I just felt like over time PvE content, they try to introduce so many of these different modes, but every single one of them failed. And I just felt like part of it is monetizing, and then some of it is you just diluting the rewards, like they're not as good like they once was. So I felt like PvE content over time just got people frustrated. And another topic I want to talk about, it correlates to that PvE content and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna catch you guys there. Okay, and the next topic that I want to talk about that kind of related to some of those PvE content was the removal of float step. Now, float step, I don't think some people don't even really know about float step, which is pretty interesting to me, but float step is basically, it's kind of like an exploit dealing with PvE or dealing with bots. So basically what you'll do is you will kind of like have this infinite loop of where the bot just literally just cannot attack you, and you can just attack infinitely, and just basically make the PvE content or just whatever you're dealing with in terms of like difficult events and stuff, kill the boss easy. So what you'll do is you will attack, then you'll just like stop. You have like, you'll pause for like a little bit. You kind of like not attack for like a certain like time, and then you will attack again. And what the bot will do is the bot will kind of like not be able to react and won't know what to do when you do this like loop over time. And basically you just be able to attack endlessly while the bot doesn't get to sidestep or retaliate back. And that's what people would do all the time. Now the problem with it was, yes, it was an exploit, but the problem with the devs was they let this exploit like not be fixed for 3 years. Like this exploit has been a thing for like 3 years. People have been using this like technique or whatever. Now we call it a technique now, the float step technique, for 3 years. So in terms of PV content now, it felt like the norm for them. It felt like, oh, you know, the devs sees this. They see this technique. They see this little exploit that people are using. And for 3 years, they said nothing about it. They never addressed it or nothing. And then out of nowhere, they just stopped it. So now it basically, hold on, let me just scroll this down real quick. It basically kind of just took out the norm that people would use every single time to deal with like Zenkai USTR or any of these difficult, whatever these super difficult PvE content that they do now, because people would just, you know, float step, and they could just bypass all the rules and stuff and not have to deal with like a super smart AI and all that good stuff. But they left it out for 3 years. They let people use this technique for 3 years straight. They should have just seen this and like immediately stop it. And we've seen there's times where the devs would just like, you know, do a quick patch on something that they didn't like. Like for example, I remember there was a time where there was like a free-to-play sell event where if you like did this exploit, you can like max out like this free-to-play Zenkai cell for free, like with no energy. And literally like hours later, they patched it. They literally patched like that exploit. So we've seen times where the devs actually ended something, like they ended the exploit really quick. But this one they let alone for 3 years straight until they wanted to just out of nowhere just remove it. And it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like if this was something that you really cared about, you should have been saw that issue when it first started, instead of it being like kind of just over time build up and become the norm that people uses and everything. So I just felt like, I understand that is an exploit, but it should have been something that you should have dealt with it as soon as it started to get popularized and more people started to use it and familiarize with it. So yeah, after that, I basically want to talk about the removal of it. Just really showed how boring PvE content really is now. Like when people are playing it now, they're like, man, like the rewards ain't really enticing to get. It's not easy no more. And you know, like I just don't want to play PvE content no more, because the only reason why I'm playing PvE content is for extra rewards that can help me out. But the rewards is not even all that worth to go through the grind of actually playing these super intense bots and them PVing you every single time when you land an attack and all that good stuff. So that's basically kind of my thing about the removal of float stuff, and what it kind of did to the player base and all that good stuff. So after this, let's hop into the last topic, and that should be it for this video. Okay, so the last topic I want to talk about is why everyone is upset over time and it just built up, is the feature boost system. I really feel like that was kind of like the nail in the coffin for a lot of people, and you guys been kind of seeing just over time like just how people just don't like the feature boost like that. So why did I feel like they introduced the feature boost system? I feel like it was the devs' direct response to answer Zenkais. Now a lot of you guys probably was here for the Zenkai meta. Think about FSK, you think about Android 18, you think about Yellow DKP, Fat Boo, you think about all these stuff, all these strong Zenkais, Bardock, Namek, Goku, like I said, all these Zenkais that was super powerful and just ran the game. Zenkai units ran the game. It ran the game for like probably like a year and a half, probably a year and a half to 2 years, not gonna lie to you. So why did Zenkais ran the game? It's really a simple answer for players. The value of rocking Zenkai units was insane. You basically, there was a time that Zenkais did cost 20 to 25k Chrono Crystals to Zenkai 7 them, but they instantly changed the value of it to 7k CC pretty much. So for 7k CC, you was basically guaranteed, you was basically guaranteed a powerful unit that, you know, that lasted you for a very long time. So what I mean by that is, when you summon on a regular banner for 7k Chrono Crystals, say for example you get lucky, you might get that unit to 6 stars, 7 stars for 7k Chrono Crystals. But for a Zenkai, they're getting super increased stats. They're getting a Zenkai ability that makes their base stats increase even more, because they have like that Zenkai ability to their own Zenkai, through their own regular Z ability. Their stats increase, and it's for 7k Chrono Crystals. Everything was telling you just the Zenkai units. Content creators like me, for example, and other people, or just other people that's just regular players, it was just like it wasn't rocket science. It's like, hey, Zenkai, like I'm gonna save a lot more Chrono Crystals. It's not even worth summoning, because say for example I get that unit, I spend 7k Chrono Crystals for a 2-star. They're not gonna compete in this Zenkai world. They're not gonna compete. I might as well just use it for a Zenkai. I might as well spend that 7k on a Zenkai instead of a regular unit. And that was the problem that Legends had, is people wasn't summoning for the new units. So what they did was introduce the feature boost system, to where they can the devs can control the meta now, not the players, the devs. And what I mean by that is, they give these new units an extra, like, you know, like an extra lift for 2 months, where they basically own the meta. And like what they did with Zenkais is, they made Zenkais free. So since they don't monetize Zenkais no more, they don't have to make the Zenkai abilities as insane as they once were. They're not going to make these Zenkai units good, but what they use these Zenkai units now is to buff the new units. So think about, for example, Zenkai Red 13. You know, he's free, that's cool, but you're not going to use Zenkai Red 13 in PvP. People use Zenkai Red 13 for another reason. They use them to Zenkai buff the latest unit. He buffs what? Red androids. What is a red android unit right now that is top 5, top 3, number 2, number 1? Droids. That's the reason why people use 13, is to Zenkai buff. It's not to use them in PvP no more. It's to use them to Zenkai buff the droids even more, to make them even more powerful. That's what they did with the Zenkai. That's why they made it free. They don't want to monetize Zenkai no more. They want to monetize new units, because over time they're going to make more money off Zenkai and off monetizing the new units, because you got to spend more money. You know, with the 14-star system, you got to get them to like that red stars. You got to summon more, because the feature boost is going to make them even stronger for a certain amount of months before their feature boost dies off, and then they can introduce another new unit, and then they Zenkai them with like an old unit that can Zenkai buff them, and it's eventually repeat, and they're going to make more money that way than having this Zenkai meta. So I feel like that's what the feature boost was really for. It really was for. It was to make, it's to not make people, it's to make people spend more money so they can make more money. They're a company at the end of the day. So forcing a meta is one of another things that feature boost does, bro. Think about the metas that we had with the feature boost. We had Legends Fest, we had a mono purple meta. People don't really rock mono purple like that. You don't really see people rocking mono purple. And then after that, you know, we kind of had Ultra Gogeta. We kind of had like a fusion meta in a sense. Ultra Gogeta is still really good though, right? But we kind of had like a fusion meta, and then it died off of it until, you know, Vegito got introduced. Ultra Vegeta got introduced. Now the fusion meta is basically back. Think about, you know, a green yellow with Kaioken Goku. People don't really rock Kaioken Goku like that no more, even though he's an Ultra. You don't really see Kaioken Goku. Kaioken Goku is still really powerful, but you just don't see people rocking green yellow. Green yellow used to be that team, but no one's not rocking green yellow no more. Think about red purple, where you had Whis, you had Droid, you had MEY. You used to see red purple like pretty much every single match. Now you do see it every now and then, but not as much as it once was, because basically all the boosts for that red purple team is gone. There's a boost for another team, Saiyans, right now. You know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, MEY Goku had a boost, Dragon Fist Goku has the boost, Ultra Vegito has the boost, and then you have Ultra Gogeta that's still really good without the boost. So that's basically what they're doing, is forcing a meta. So they're usually going to be like a really top unit, top team at that specific time. And then there might be, you know, some teams like LOE and all that stuff in future that's, you know, pretty solid as well. That's like around here. You know, they can beat the top team, but if you have this team, the top team maxed out, it's gonna be really difficult to beat that top team at that specific time. And then you have, like I said, you have like those 2 to 3 teams that can kind of compete up there, and then like the rest of the other tags like Regen and all the other teams are just down. They're just not even, they're not even competing like that, bro. They're just not even competing. So that's what I feel like the feature boost was, and I feel like, you know, just to end, just to conclude every single thing is all these reasons why people are just sick of this game now, because it just kind of just added up where too much they couldn't bottle just the frustration no more, and just exploded. And now you basically have an uproar of players just quitting the game and all that stuff. So let's head on to the conclusion and wrap this video up. So the question is, we're at the conclusion. The question is the game dying? That's the question, is the game dying? And I personally don't think the game is dying. And I personally feel like another thing to add on to that question is you got to look at it from a viewpoint. What viewpoint are you looking at it from? If you're looking at it from a devs or like the Legends devs viewpoint, it's probably, the game is probably actually doing, like, it's probably is at its best right now. They're probably making the most money like now than ever. With all these changes that they did with the red stars and making people summon more and the feature boost system, they're getting more people to spend more money on this game. And I really feel like if you look at it from a dev standpoint, I don't think the game is dying in their hands. The game is probably even at an all-time high for them, because they're probably making the most money ever now than compared to back then. But if you look at it from a player standpoint, you could probably say the game is dying, because in terms of them, you've seen a lot of just things that's getting monetized. You're seeing a lot of like PV content just not being as good like it once was. Like just trying to find like value in anything is not really there no more in terms of Zenkais, or just how valuable step-up bands were at one point. Like those values of certain things are just not there anymore like they once was, or getting to deal with PV content as quickly as possible. There's really no value in any of these things no more. But like I said, in terms of the devs standpoint, they don't have no value, so they're forced to spend more money to get to the point where they want to be at and compete in this meta with all the stuff that they introduced in terms of feature boost and 14 stars units and monetize the PV events, so it can make it easier for them to summon for the latest units. All these things took time for them to build, and over time the devs basically got what they want, is more money. But in terms of the player base, they just got unhappy. So that's basically what I kind of see in terms of, is the game dead? Is dead? You got to look at it from a certain point. Are you looking at it from a dev standpoint, or are you looking at it from a player standpoint? And it's at a polar opposite. Usually, more people are not enjoying the game, but the devs are probably making the most money from this game, like at an all-time high. So let me know what you guys think. I basically kind of just talked about, I feel like, are the main things why people are quitting the game. But like I said, I feel like it was built up over time. I don't feel like this update in general made people mad. This is something that was building up over time, and people were just kind of just tolerating it to the point where they couldn't tolerate it anymore, and they just kind of just exploded. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Did all my points make sense? Do you feel like this was something that built up over time, or do you feel like it was just from this update alone? You feel me? It could just be, I could be completely wrong. I feel like it's something that built up over time, like over the years, but you guys might think this update alone just pissed you off. So let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, and we're Griff, man, and I'm out. Peace.